Wow, it's been an interesting decade for AI, hasn't it? We started with essentially just using probabilities and statistics about 10 years ago with AI, and very quickly moved into things like convolutional neural networks, deep learning, object detection, and finally, over the last couple of years, we have been looking at all these question answer agents and chatbots that can answer any question on the internet at the tip of our fingers. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to go through some of the evolution we've had in AI over the last 10 years, some of the techniques that have come to market, and then finally see how we can use some of that with drone data. Let's have a look. Hey everyone, I'm Varun from Hammer Missions, and in this particular video, what I want to do is I want to talk about AI, and I want to talk about what are the different forms of AI, because not all AI are the same, and I want to talk about how do you actually apply AI to the drone world. So if you do want to learn how to do all of that, do watch till the very end. Let's have a look. So the first thing I want to talk about is what actually are the different types of AI. So a brief history of AI, I think AI is one of those things which has always been a moving target for humanity. I think we've always made AI better, we've come up with the latest and greatest techniques, and therefore every 5 years or so we sort of figure out a new way to do things, and that creates this big buzz in the industry in terms of what we can actually achieve with AI. So AI initially started off by essentially being probability and statistics and nothing more. And it was very much these mathematical models that allowed us to apply AI to all sorts of computing systems. So if you go back 20 years or so, I think, spam filtering in your email inbox was sort of like one of the big applications for AI. And that was predominantly done by probabilities and statistics and sort of looking at these different mathematical models that would segregate whether an email is spam or non-spam. And so what happened over the course of the last decade is that in about 2014, 2015, two things changed in our industry. Firstly, computing power became very much available to be able to train larger systems and larger AI models. And secondly, we had the ability to actually go out there and map the internet, all of the data on the internet, to be able to actually have the data and the compute to train larger models. And in fact, in the 60s, maybe 70s, there was this sort of concept of a perceptron or a neural network that was established in the research side of AI that actually became viable or usable in 2015. And so that really made the whole industry shift towards AI because suddenly an academic technique was finally practical in the engineering world. And that's actually not too different from what we see in the drone side of things, because drones were a concept that I think have existed for the longest time. If you sort of Google the definition of the first drone, it was, probably like decades ago, first remotely controlled vehicle that was actually operated. But for it to be actually applied in an actual use case today, it had to go through several iterations in terms of becoming smaller, cheaper, faster, and more efficient generally. So back to AI, one of the things that happened in 2015 is that we started using these deep learning models or convolutional neural nets. And these deep learning models, basically what they do is that they were really good at building up, again, a mathematical structure of neurons, which essentially understand the inherent pattern in images or any geometrical structure for that matter. So if you wanted to, for example, use a set of images to understand what is in that image. I don't know if you remember, but there was this famous sort of like detecting cats on the internet, which was a big application at the start. You could actually sort of take those features in an image, give it to an AI system that was built on these deep learning systems, and they would be able to sort of detect things. Or you could apply it in a different way, and they would be able to classify things. So they'd be able to say cats or non-cats, or dog or not dog, whatever your favorite example might be. So essentially we moved from probability and statistics to be able to actually do a lot of things with images. And that geometrical pattern was not just applied to images, it could also be applied to computer games. There was the famous example of sort of chess, where Garry Kasparov lost to the AI agent built by DeepMind, and also then AlphaGo, which was another amazing model that they created that was able to beat the best Go player in the world. So we went from very quickly from probability and statistics to text-based data to image, geometrical data, games-based data, and all these deep learning models came into place. And so those deep learning models are still very relevant today and actually can be applied to drones in a very interesting way. If you think about it, what do drones do? They're able to capture many, many images and many, many videos at scale. And all that data can now be made available to a deep learning system that can just draw insights from that data. So even if it starts with detecting objects in that data, all of it can actually be then made available to the end user, because you don't have to sort of scour through all those different images to be able to find what you're looking for, because AI has already done that for you. So that's one big application. But in the last couple of years, we've seen this sort of new buzz altogether. And what's that all about? Well, that all buzz is to do with large language models, also known as LLMs. And so these language models are a new way of actually training models, where you're not just training on sort of the deep learning convolutional neural nets, you're actually learning many more things, because essentially there is a fundamentally new architecture behind generating an example from last seen examples. And so I think one of the things that a lot of the companies around the world that are leading this area, they've done is that they've actually created these massive data sets, and they've been able to essentially use these GPTs, general purpose transformers, to be able to create these generative models, which are able to take all that data on the internet, put that in their sort of training, and actually respond to your questions by generating the next word in the sequence. So what these models fundamentally do is that when you give them a question, they try to figure out what is the most likely next word in their response. And that next word in the response gives the illusion of intelligence, because ultimately it is artificial intelligence, because each one of those words is a trained prediction from these models that uses all of the data on the internet. So if you think about all of the forum discussions, all of the different articles online, all of that data, which is, probably petabytes and petabytes of data, all of that can actually be now used to answer that question. So generative models are really good at generating these text-based responses, and therefore all these chatbots have come to place. Now, how does that apply to drone data? Because one might think, actually, that's all very text and doesn't really apply. Well, I think that it's very relevant to the drone industry. And if you think about it, a lot of people get obsessed with the images or the video, but fundamentally, what are drones trying to do? Drones are ultimately, especially the ones with cameras, they're ultimately flying cameras, flying scanners. And why are you scanning in the first place? You're scanning because you want to answer a question. You want to answer the question like, what is the condition of my building? What is the number of crops on this farm? What is the yield like this particular season? What is the condition of my solar panels in my solar park? What is the efficiency rating? What is the stockpile volume in these particular construction sites that I'm surveying? What is the length, breadth, measurement, height of this particular structure? And what would it take to repair it? So I think there is just a number of different questions that drones are trying to answer. And yes, the path might be through images and videos, but I wouldn't be surprised if ultimately it all boils down to a question that needs to be answered. And if there is a large language-based model that is sitting at the top of all of this data and just reviewing all of that data and then allowing you to ask a question and get a great response from. That's sort of what we're basing our Hamlet AI on. So at Hammer Missions, we've built this sort of LLM-based agent that sits on top of drone data. And whilst you have things like Spector AI in Hammer Missions that understand the detection piece of what needs to be detected in the data, there's also Hamlet AI, which will actually answer questions from the detections. So I think that there is a place for both types of AI models, and I'm very excited to see where the industry goes, because the drone industry is emerging very rapidly, just like the AI industry. And I think in the next couple of years, there's going to be a new model. And we're going to see essentially, again, this sort of interplay between drones as being the scanners and AI as being the sort of insights engine. And you're going to see even more efficiencies created and even more answers in this particular domain. So really excited to see where all of this goes. If you have any comments on where you think AI can be applied in the drone industry, where it can create value today, do leave them in the comments box below. We're very open to a conversation and sort of seeing how we can actually leverage AI in our interesting industry and see where it all goes. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully it was informative. We'll see you in the next video for Knowledge Hub.